Welcome to the show, Charlie. How are you?
Good, Michael. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
Honestly, thanks very much for coming on. You're a very busy man, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on. So, you don't need much of an introduction. You run a very, very popular platform, but for all the right reasons. Christian Lives Matter, and I know that you've given your testimony before. People know a little bit about your background. You recently started a podcast, and we're going to get into that. But what I wanted to raise awareness for most people out there is just going into detail on everything to do with Christian Lives Matter. You know, like where you got the idea, how you got started. So if you want to kick us off, with how the idea came about.
Christian Lives Matter started, I think, about 7 years ago.
Yep.
And it first started when they were bombing the Coptic churches in Egypt. And I thought, okay, there's a lot of persecution of Christianity and not many people talking about it. So that triggered me to start Christian Lives Matter.
But the name Christian Lives Matter, was that also kind of like a take on the whole Black Lives Matter?
It was.
Because that was happening back then as well?
It was before Black Lives Matter with George Floyd. It was way before.
Oh, it was way before that.
Yeah, so Black Lives Matter has been around quite a few years.
Yep.
But not many people knew about it.
Okay.
I had heard about Black Lives Matter. It wasn't in the mainstream media. And when I thought of this name, Black Lives Matter, I thought, okay, no one ever talks about Christians and their lives mattering. So I thought to myself, you've got the persecution of Christians in the Middle East all around the world. I was actually started focusing on the Middle East persecution.
Yep. So
that's when I started the Christian Lives Matter. And there was a thing also where a lot of people, when I first started coming to the faith, were saying things like, you're Catholic, you're not Christian. So I thought to myself, you know what?
But why were they saying?
A lot of non-Catholics think that Catholics aren't Christian.
Okay.
It was very weird.
Yeah.
So I thought to myself, I want to call it Christian Lives Matter.
Yep.
And I want to, show the persecution of all Christians and unite all Christians.
Yep.
But most of all, let people know about our Catholic faith, because our Catholic faith is about Christianity.
Yeah, because even though you're a practicing Maronite Catholic, you wanted to incorporate everybody, like who's Christian, into this.
Mainly the Apostolic Christians. So the Orthodox, the Coptics, the Melkites, the Roman Catholics, the Maronite Catholics. That I wanted to unite them mostly, but all Christians in general. And I mean, when you look at the Egyptians getting killed in Egypt, they were Coptics. They weren't Maronite.
That's right.
Okay. And then Nigeria, you had Christians getting slaughtered there. And then the Christians in Syria, which are mainly Orthodox. Mm-hmm. And then you've got the Maronites in Lebanon. So you've got a whole heap of different type of Christians getting slaughtered and getting persecuted. So the name fitted perfectly.
And from what you understood as well, there wasn't much attention being paid by the mainstream media or there wasn't much of an awareness being given to like people like us or just people in general about the persecution, and that's why you wanted to raise that kind of awareness. Is that right?
Well, yeah, that's correct. And since 2,000 years ago till now, there's been over 70 million Christians that have been killed just for their faith.
Okay.
You hear the genocide with, say, for example, the Jews getting killed. 6 million Jews got killed.
Yep.
We're talking 70 million or more Christians have been killed. No one talks about it.
For their beliefs.
For their beliefs, just for their faith.
Yep.
That moved from the persecution of Christians to, as in getting killed, to the persecutions of Christians in Australia. Not technically getting killed, but
getting persecuted in other ways.
Same-sex marriage, abortion, can't pray outside abortion clinics. All that started to happen. And if you remember the same-sex campaign, the rallies, the abortion rallies, so I started rallying up people for that sort of stuff. And there was one time when the same-sex marriage campaign happened. There was a beheading of a statue at St. Paul of the Cross in Dulwich Hill. So I put up on Christian Lives Matter, persecution of Christians for their faith, for their beliefs. And we had over 1,000 people within 2 hours praying a rosary at St. Paul of the Cross in Dulwich Hill.
Okay. So when it came to the rallying people to protest against the same-sex marriage bill and the abortion bill, I noticed that it was very one-sided. There were a lot of businesses that were not businesses, more like top ASX companies that were promoting the same-sex marriage campaign or to vote yes. within their workplaces, getting people to wear certain colors on certain days to show that they support. And a lot of people that were Christian that were in these workplaces felt as though that they were like in a very compromised position. Like, what I mean by that is they felt like if they were to show what their Christian beliefs were, they'd probably get the sack, And a lot of these organizations, they even set up like departments that were like headed like an LGBTQ
supposedly
support network,
but they were actually excluding anyone who didn't
That's
believe
right.
in what they believed.
Did you get a lot of people talking to you like
heaps
about that?
A lot of people spoke to me about it,
Yeah.
but they wouldn't want to say their name because they're scared.
Yeah.
It's like they're fearing their lives. It's actually unbelievable hearing people speak out privately. Yeah, but they don't want to speak out publicly.
Yeah, and is it because they didn't want to lose their job?
They don't want to lose their job. They don't want to get ridiculed.
Yeah,
and I faced that. I faced that myself.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you remember, we're seeing today about the murals being painted around the city.
Yep.
This same person was painting murals of Tony Abbott and Cardinal Pell. As a
an erotic
same-sex half-naked marriage on walls in Newtown.
Yeah.
And we went down and prayed a rosary down there.
Yep.
And someone went and painted over it and stuff like that.
Yep.
And because I was asking people to go down with a rosary and pray, I quoted Padre Pio. The weapon of our times is the rosary.
Yep.
And some of these people from this agenda went and put my name at the police station saying Charlie Bakhos is a terrorist, running a terrorist organisation.
Yep.
They put a petition together.
Yep.
They put my name at every police station saying that I'm encouraging people to go down with weapons to attack LGBT people.
And how did you find that out? Were you notified by the police or?
Well, somebody sent me the petition.
Oh, okay.
And then they told me that my name was at all the police stations. And I thought, wow, they've just twisted everything I've said, which I've never said anything like that.
Yep.
And quoting a saint by praying the weapon, praying the rosary, which is the weapon of our times. The weapon is the rosary.
Yep.
It's just a prayer. And they took it as if I'm taking actual guns down to kill people. And they even said it in the actual petition, saying that I run a Christian Taliban organization.
Okay.
Like, it doesn't even make sense.
So they probably just were using, like, they took words out of context that you were using when you were promoting that message of praying the rosary.
That's right.
And did you manage to get a lot of like support? Like, I know off the top of my head that there probably 50 or 60 people went down to pray the rosary.
Yeah, close to 100 people went to pray the rosary. There was a lot of support.
Yeah.
But because my face was on the front lines, these people were attacking me.
And how when you say that they would attack you, and maybe you can go into this because probably people don't know a lot of the back end, but I want people to be able to appreciate the fact that this is taking up a lot of your life. It's taking up a lot of your time. It's not just something that you do on the side. It's not just something that you spend 5 or 10 minutes or half an hour a day with looking at night and checking emails and checking your Instagram. And it's full on, isn't it? Like, you've even told me before about these like trolls, for example, that like hunt your Facebook.
I'd get messages on Facebook and Instagram saying, I'm going to go down to the church you're at and I'm going to get a chainsaw and cut you up.
Yep.
I'm going to kill your mother.
Yep. And this happens all the time.
I'm going to rape your sister.
Wow.
Like, messages non-stop.
Yep. I'm
going to do this. And if you go to the police, they're not going to do anything because you've already got your name at the police station, so they think that you're the bad guy. So it was like, obviously they're trolls. They're not, they don't show their face, but the threats are non-stop.
Yep.
At the beginning, it was daunting, scary, but then I just thought these guys are just trolls. But it's not something that's easy at the beginning for anyone to handle. So when people come to me and say, I'm scared in my workplace, I understood.
Okay.
Because I might be strong in my faith and I can understand the persecution, but someone else who might be female or weaker or not that confident might get scared.
But also because when you've got, like, how many people do you have right now on the Christian Lives Matter?
On the Facebook, there's about 24,000.
24,000. And can you remember when you first started Christian Lives Matter, how many people were you able to like rally up? Because I remember when you first started that page, that it got very big very quick. Did it go to like 5,000 or 6,000 like within a couple of weeks? Or
yeah, it was about 10,000 in about a month.
In a month.
The problem was with Facebook, I was posting a lot on Facebook.
Yep.
And anything you speak truth on Facebook,
yep,
eventually they started monitoring and what they call shadow banning me.
Okay.
So now if you see on my Facebook page,
yep,
a lot of the posts aren't getting the likes or the shares because Facebook has shadow banned it.
So they somehow deem your content as not being appropriate.
So one example, they'd send me warning saying you posted something inappropriate. And I've got like about maybe 15,000 people that have tried to post on my page.
Yep.
And I have to approve or decline the posts. Mm-hmm. So eventually got to the point where I just didn't approve any more posts.
Okay.
Right? And Facebook sent me a message saying, you've got a warning because you posted inappropriate posts 3 years ago. We're giving your page a warning.
3 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
And guess what the post was? I shared a news article of a bombing of a church in Sri Lanka where they killed 80 Christians in a church. Well, and that was more than 80 Christians.
Yep.
So I posted a news article that was talking about Christians getting killed in Sri Lanka.
Yep.
And they warned me because that post was offensive.
Wow. Did they say who that post was offensive to? Or they just
It was offensive because it showed people getting killed.
Okay.
But it was a news article.
And it was a news article from a post that you actually shared?
Yeah.
Wow.
So then they warned me and they blocked me for 30 days.
And could you do anything like in the
No, you can't contact anybody. So
is it very hard to contact? It's
impossible.
Okay.
And once the 30 days finish the ban, they'll come back. They'll let you back on there, but then you get less views. They control your views.
Okay.
And that's when I started posting on Instagram, and then now my Instagram personal page is about 12,000 followers.
Are you finding that Instagram is less monitored, less sanctioned than the Facebook, or is it roughly the same? It's
not, but I've been clever with my Instagram because, for example, during the pandemic and stuff like that, if I ever posted anything, I watch the words that I use.
Yep.
If I do a live video, I delete the video.
Yep.
Because once they see your video and you're posting truth, they'll shadow ban you.
Okay.
So anything I speak truth, I speak the truth and then delete the post or try to water down what I say so they don't monitor me.
And when you say truth, you're like, when you're making cases, like good cases for the church's arguments against same-sex marriage, for example, or showing the persecution, showing the truth behind the persecutions in these countries. This is what you're speaking about. Yeah.
But I'll give you an example today. Yeah. Okay. The last couple of days, there was some murals being painted in the city.
By that same
artist? Same guy, same artist.
Yep.
Okay. And they had one with a bondage man, half naked, wearing bondage clothes with a teddy bear face. Full Balenciaga style pedophilia mural.
Okay. Was it like in support of anything, or like is there some sort of a pride
LGBT,
just something?
What is it? Pride World the week, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's painted this mural in the city, which is very offensive to anyone who's against pedophilia or anyone who's got children. Okay, so I've posted this picture, and then posted a picture of somebody who's actually painted over it.
Yeah.
Okay. This picture hasn't been banned on Instagram.
Yeah.
That picture, according to Instagram, is not offensive.
Yeah.
But all my comments, there was some of the comments that were blocked, that you had to click onto it because the comment was very offensive. So I unclicked it to see what the comment was, and guess what the comment was?
No. What?
The person said, "This is disgusting."
That was a comment.
So the word disgusting was offensive, but the mural of someone half naked in a bondage is not offensive.
So you can tell who controls that.
Yeah, and there was another comment today that was blocked as well.
Yeah.
And I uncovered the block because you're allowed to, being the
because you're the admin.
And the person was blocked from their comment because they used the word stupid.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's that censored now?
Yeah. So if someone said stupid or disgusting, they block their comments.
Wow.
But someone half naked and wearing, whatever it is, disgusting.
Wow.
Like the disgusting word is offensive, but the actual post isn't.
Far out.
So yeah.
Okay, well let's keep going then. So this 1,000 people praying the rosary outside St. Paul of the Cross. So can you just go into the detail and the background about what happened with that situation? Because I remember that I don't know whether it was a news article that came out about how a person went to St. Paul of the Cross in Dulwich Hill and they beheaded the statue of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Was there did he give a reason as to why he did it?
Look, was it in
response to anything?
It was response to the same-sex marriage campaign that actually won. It was I think the first day that they won the campaign.
So it was kind of like a victory attack?
Yeah, it was a victory attack, but it was a young guy who was drunk.
Okay.
So it was a young guy, late teens.
Yep.
Drunk. He actually took photos of him beheading it.
Yep. And
he posted it on I think on Snapchat or something. So everyone got this picture of this guy young guy with bushy hair, drunk,
Yep.
smashing this statue.
Yep.
So obviously I posted this and the Christian community got fired up, and we thought, okay, let's go and pray for Australia. So we went down to St. Paul of the Cross. I didn't know how many people were going to go. I just posted on Christian Lives Matter.
Yep.
And within hours, there was over 1,000 people there.
Wow.
And Bishop Umbers was there, and the whole courtyard was just full of people. And then the next day that we went down, we ended up raising some money. We bought a statue, we replaced the statue and everything like that. So it ended up being a positive thing.
Okay, awesome. And did the bishop give any words to you,
He gave words to the audience actually, and he was very impressed with the rally of people, and that gave me some confidence in the fact that, hey, we can round up 1,000 people in 2-3 hours.
Yep.
And we've got some serious people around us, which was beautiful.
Yep. And so, because I want to talk more about that now. So, a lot of the people that follow you on Christian Lives Matter, is it a mix? Is it mainly men? Like, there's been this like phenomenon of people like that are listening now to people like Jordan Peterson, for example.
Yep.
Because Jordan Peterson, like to put it simply, or just to say it simply, he's kind of like letting men know it's okay to be a man. There are differences between men and women. Your masculinity can be a form of your strength. And these are messages that a lot of these young blokes resonate with, for example. I feel like where Christian Lives Matters comes in as well is like there are a lot of young men out there, or men of all ages, and they're coming like with their problems and their backgrounds and their struggles, and they're realizing that there's a battle, there's a war going on, and they want to do something about it. I don't know whether it's because they realize that they come from either bad pasts, or they realize that they're sinners and they want to amend their lives. What have you noticed?
Look, I've looked into the analytics of Facebook. You can see who your audience is.
Yep.
60% of the audience is female.
Your audience?
And I'll explain to you why.
Yep.
So 60% is female.
Yep.
And probably about 85% is from Australia.
Okay.
There's about 10% from Lebanon, and there's 5% from America
and other countries.
Yep. So majority is Australia, Sydney.
Yep.
Sydney, Australia, and 60% being female. The reason why I've noticed is that probably more than half the men I know don't even have Facebook. Don't have Instagram.
Oh.
So a lot of the guys I know, they come up to me and say, "Oh, I know you, Charlie, off social media." I'm like, "Do you have Facebook?" "No, I don't." "So how do you know me off social media?" I watch it through my wife's Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Or she sends me the link. So a lot of these guys still have the videos or whatever shared, and they'll see it off their friends' pages or whatever. So so people following Christian Lives Matter, a lot of them are men.
Yep.
But if you want to go to detail on Facebook, it's 60% female.
It's the females.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just speaking from what I've seen.
Yep.
That more women have social media. That's probably the reason why.
Yep.
But not just Jordan Peterson. You got the people following like Andrew Tate.
Yep.
You know, so people are thirsting truth. People are thirsting the opposite to what the mainstream media is showing out there.
Yep.
And I think that's what's attracting people to Christian Lives Matter, because Christian Lives Matter, not only is it speaking truth, it's speaking through Christianity, and we're doing a lot of things that aren't spoken about inside the church.
Yep.
So, for example, abortion, going against abortion, rounding up these people about the persecuted Christians. It's touched on here and there, but I'm on the front lines talking about this stuff all the time, and people want to hear that.
Okay, so let's talk about that. What are some of your frustrations? What have you heard as some of the people's frustrations with regards to these messages that are kind of like not being, that are being either silenced, or they're not being? Is it because, I don't know, we talk about it too much? We're scared to talk about these kinds of topics. What are you finding? Why is it like when you speak about abortion, people are like, well, okay, let's rally,
They feel that they want the church to speak about this controversial stuff.
Yep.
Okay. And I understand the church's perspective.
Yep.
And I understand the people's perspective.
Yep.
So I think we need to find a medium. So, for example, I might do a talk where I'm interviewing someone on Facebook and talking about addictions and talking about things like, demonic possession or and you get priests that might say, don't scare people, things like that.
Okay.
A lot of the young Catholics and stuff, like even myself, I came back to the faith from being scared of going to hell.
Yep.
So people want to hear the truth regardless if it's scary or not.
Yeah.
People don't want to hear the kumbaya, everyone's going to heaven, it's all peaceful, and people want to hear the truth.
Yeah. If
you do this and you do these sins and you follow this, just like when Israel Folau quoted the Bible. He quoted the Bible.
Yeah.
And the Bible quote was basically, adulterers, fornicators, all this homosexual, everything that's sinful.
Yeah.
Drunkenness, everything. Okay, if you don't repent, it is what it is. That's where you're going to go. So and people want to hear that.
So it's just the straight gospel.
That's it. They want to hear the truth. The other thing is, sadly, I'm not going to say the church, but a lot of people in the church want to tiptoe around the truth because they're scared to offend someone, or they want to make sure that no one gets their feelings hurt. Mm-hmm. Sadly, I think that's the biggest problem within our church at the moment, that they're always trying to please
everybody
people instead of pleasing God.
Okay.
The 10 Commandments aren't rosy.
Yep.
They're straight, black and white. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Yep. Like it doesn't say, if you steal, it's okay. No, black and white. Yep. People like to see black and white. They don't want to see 50 Shades of Grey.
Is that why you were drawn towards the monks of Beit Maroun from Lebanon?
Yeah, because...
Did you find that the way that their delivery was more direct, and maybe church leaders or people within the community who are thinking we need to kind of soften the word or so on and so forth, maybe they could learn from them? Because I find that they speak very direct, they speak with truth, but they speak with love as well, which is the reason why I don't think people will get offended by their message.
They speak with love, but true love.
Yeah.
Not the love is love that you see in the media.
Yeah.
And this is where people misunderstand what love is.
Well, would you agree with that about them?
Definitely.
Like Abuna Tanyos, because
so Abuna Tanyos, Beit Maroun, the way they preach, the way they speak. Like I'll give you an example. Well,
could you start by just letting us know, just for people who don't know, who is Abuna Tanyos?
So Abuna Tanyos is a monk that was in Australia 5-6 years ago.
Yep.
He left Australia, went to Lebanon, and him and a group of other monks have started a new order within the Maronite Church in Lebanon.
Yep.
Okay, it's called the Monks of Beit Maroun, and they're basing the order of the Monks of Beit Maroun going back to the traditions of Saint Maroun.
Yep.
Okay, so they're taking it back a step. So, for example, they spend 4 days in the wilderness, fasting, reading the Word of God, and then they spend 3 days preaching and going to the churches and doing masses and confessions and stuff. So they help the church.
And could you speak also about, sorry to cut you off, but before we get into that as well, when he came out, can you just speak a little bit about the impression that he had on yourself, on people,
so what
the kind of crowds he drew to his masses?
Yeah, so what attracted to me to go into the masses was when I first saw Abuna Tanyos, I seen all these people flocking around him. I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
So I was new to the faith, so I pulled him up and I actually waited for everyone to go away. I pulled him aside. I said, I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
And his English is a bit broken, so I said to him in Arabic, but I said, what's your mission? What are you trying to achieve? And he goes, all I want to do is save souls, help save souls.
Yeah.
I was blown away.
Yeah.
Because I've always heard, priests want money, or priests want this, or priests want to whatever. But I just thought, wow, isn't that what every priest should be doing?
Yeah.
Trying to save souls. So that attracted me. So I got his phone number and I rang him for 2 weeks. Couldn't organise a meeting with him.
Yep.
Because he was that busy. And I waited 2 weeks, came to a Thursday night mass, waited for him 2 hours. Once the mass finished, waited till about 11:30 at night, sat down with him, and I said, Abuna, I've been waiting 2-3 weeks to speak to you. And he said, yeah, what is it that I can help you with? I said, no, I want to help you. You want to save souls? I want to help you save souls.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that I need to do, you let me know.
Yeah.
I'm there for you.
Yeah.
And from then on, I started bringing people through God's grace, obviously, because everything, he's saving souls through the Holy Spirit. started bringing people to the faith, to the church. So people that were bikies, people that were in jail, people that were tattered up, started coming to church, going to confession, filling up the church. Thursday night mass went from 40 people to about 600-700 people every Thursday night.
And why? Because I remember speaking to you about this. Why were you so confident in bringing these people to him for confession? What was it about his confessions, for example? Were you worried a little bit about what other priests, what you had heard other priests might tell them in confession?
Look, I had experienced it myself where, for example, it might take me months to build myself up to go to a confession.
Yep.
And I'd go down to a priest, for example, and I'll confess. And then the priest will just look at me and just say, okay, just go say one Our Father. And I'd be looking for advice or looking for, someone to say you shouldn't do, but...
Yeah.
And now I understand it because I can go to a confession, a priest can say that to me and I know I'm absolved from the sins. But somebody who hasn't been in confession 10, 15 years, he just doesn't need just confession, he needs advice.
Yep.
So, and he needs someone to guide them through the confession.
Yep.
So I found Abonatanis would spend that time, hour and a half with somebody. And look, something that I saw the last couple of days which made me realise that why people are thirsting this sort of theology and this sort of preaching is that, do you know what the figures are of how many people go to church on a weekly basis in Australia? Do you know what the figures are?
About 10%.
10%. I heard it's 9%.
Yeah.
I read an article this week around the whole world, the country that has the highest church attendance weekly. Do you know which country?
Nigeria.
Do you know what percent?
94%. Oh, 94%.
So from a 30 million people population, 94% go to weekly mass.
Wow.
They're getting persecuted. They're getting killed for their faith.
Yeah.
They're getting slaughtered just for being Christian. Mm-hmm. And 94% of them are going to church.
Wow.
Here in Sydney, Australia, we kick back, watch TV, Netflix, podcasts, YouTube, do whatever you want, rainbow flags, whatever you feel like you can do. Mm-hmm. And only 9% are going to church.
But that's probably the reason why 9% go.
That's right.
Because I've got this theory myself that I think that we've got it too easy here and we've got it too good. And for the majority of people, I think, and I'm not talking about Christians, I'm talking about just people in general, people only do things after the fact, for example. So just to make it simple, just to cut it simply, it's only until some sort of a bad tragedy happens that people will either turn to God.
That's right.
Or even if they turn to God and hate him, at least they're turning to God. You know what I mean? Because I've seen that happen as well, which is bad, but people are in whatever situations they're in. But I find that we got things too easy here, especially we're creatures of comfort. We're not struggling for food. We're not struggling. We might be with the way things are going with inflation and interest rates and whatever it is. Obviously, it won't be as bad as what Lebanon is, but or countries or in third world countries. But we're too comfortable. We take things for granted, and we need something in order to bring us back.
I'll tell you what, persecution, suffering, everything we just discussed, just like Nigeria, is bringing their church full.
Yeah.
Okay? What the people don't understand, the agenda that's going against us right now, in our governments, in the media, that's going to turn positive for Christianity.
Yeah.
It's bringing people into the doors of the church.
Yeah.
What happened with Cardinal Pell's funeral?
Yeah.
People got fired up. They want to defend the church.
Yeah.
The thing is, they go down with this fire in them. They want to defend the church.
Yeah.
And I grabbed a few of the boys and said, okay, you want to defend the church? I don't actually see you at church. Oh, yeah, but, they don't go to church.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, they started asking me questions. I would ask them questions to trigger. Why are you defending the church? Oh, I'm Christian. I want to defend the church. But why? Do you know what Jesus? Do you know who Jesus is? Do you know anything about the church? Oh, not really. So what happens is it opens up their eyes to start learning about Christ, to start learning about the church, to see what they're defending.
Yeah.
So it's actually going to fill up the churches. All this persecution, just like it is in Nigeria, is going to fill up the churches.
Now, can you do me a favor? Can you bring that back to Abonatanos? Because you wanted to make that connection there.
Yeah. Okay. So with Abonatanos, a lot of the guys that
were like this.
That's right. They were, like, even me, I was away from the faith. I didn't understand. I went to a Catholic school my whole life. I didn't even know that the Eucharist was the presence of our Lord, you know. I didn't even know there was, you know, for example, all the stories in the Bible were just stories. They weren't real.
Yep.
You know, that's what I was taught my whole life. So to me, that's just too mediocre. It's not, you know. I want to hear that, for example, one thing, a quick story of Warnatanios. One day, I went to church in the morning, St. Charbel's. In the evening, it was very hot. It was summer. Had a barbecue, a punch bowl at a friend's house, and I was wearing shorts. And I know Warnatanios used to say, don't wear shorts to church. I thought to myself, I'm going to rock up late to church. I've already been to church in the morning. For me to drive home and get changed, you know what? I'll just rock up to church in the shorts. 40-degree day. Walked up, went to church. After church, I went to behind the sacristy, behind the church, saw Abonatanos in front of about 15, 20 people. He said, Charlie, what are you wearing? I said, oh, look, Abona, it was hot and I'd already been to Mass in the morning. He goes, so you come to church in shorts. That's how much respect you have for our Lord, is it?
Wow.
And I looked at him, I said, he's got a point. I said, yeah, but I made him every excuse under the sun. And he turned around, Charlie, let me ask you a question. If you had a wedding on, and you're wearing shorts, would you rock up to the wedding, or you'd go home and get changed in the suit, get changed, dressed properly, and come late? I said, I wouldn't come in shorts, that's for sure. And then why would you come to Christ's wedding banquet in shorts? Yeah. I was like, wow, I want to hear that. It made me feel like, hey, that's the truth. Yeah. I want to hear the truth.
Like, pull your socks up.
Yeah.
Like,
I didn't get offended by what he said.
Yeah.
But it woke me up. Till this day, you'll never see me in shorts when I go to church. I carried tracksuit pants in my car. I was in Lebanon, in Baalbek, 42, 43 degrees. Yep. I'd have tracksuit pants in my car everywhere I went. I know it might be something people might say, it's just shorts, who cares? No. To me, it's important because I'm coming to the house of God. Yep. I need to be dressed appropriately.
So you planted that seed.
Some small seed like that stuck in my head.
Yep.
And it made me love the church just that little bit more.
So Abonatanios was able to deliver like the truth in love directly and without fear of offending.
That's right.
And that's what you feel like other priests could do a little bit better.
Yeah, because a lot of priests, and I'm not blaming them, they're human.
Yep.
A lot of priests would turn around and say, I'm not going to tell Charlie to not wear shorts, he might get offended. So I'll just tiptoe around it.
Yep.
But unfortunately, a lot of young guys, they want to hear
the truth.
They want to hear the truth, no matter how harsh it is.
How harsh,
and that's what people are attracted to.
Yeah.
You know, otherwise, if I can live my life of sin and get to heaven, then what do I want to come to church?
That's true. So it's not. So your message would be to priests or to other priests. It's like, just tell it to me straight. Tell me the truth in love, and we'll listen.
100%.
Okay.
100%. Right. And I'll touch on that in a bit later on when we talk about what's happening now in Australia.
Okay. Well, let's move on to another little. It was a bit of a, I don't know if I should say funny. I feel like slack saying it, but with what happened with Cole Sandilands.
Okay.
And his mockery of the Blessed Virgin Mary in one of his segments. So what happened there?
Cole Sandilands. I was in Lebanon at the time.
Yeah.
Cole Sandilands spoke about Virgin Mary having sex in the barn or something like that. He said something very, very offensive to everyone who believes in the Virgin Mary and our Lord Jesus Christ.
Muslims and Christians.
Yeah, so, well, that's the thing. He said it, I think, to offend Christians. Yeah. Because it's always easy to offend Christians because they think that we're just supposed to turn the other cheek, but they don't understand that we're allowed to defend our faith too. Yeah. So Kyle Sandilands said that on radio, and Kyle Sandilands at the time obviously thinks he's above the law and, you know, can say whatever he wants.
Yeah.
So I posted up a video. I actually was in Lebanon. I went up to Our Lady of Harissa.
Yeah. I
said a quick prayer. I went up and did a nice 5-minute video in response to what he said.
Yeah.
And indicated that not only has he offended the 2.1 billion Christians in the world, he offended the 1.7 billion Muslims as well, because they believe in Our Lady as well.
Yeah.
So he actually made people wake up in Australia that this guy's offended everybody of faith, especially Muslims and Christians.
Yeah.
And it kind of united the Muslims and Christians together. So people started doing videos. To be honest with you, I think he got scared for his life and fled to Los Angeles for 9 days. Then he did a small apology, which no one accepted.
Yeah.
And then he came back to Sydney after 9 days and did an 8-minute apology.
Yeah.
And that's it. It stopped from there.
Okay.
But again, that situation.
Now, what do you think brought about that apology? Like, was he?
I think he was scared.
He was. What was he getting threat? Was he getting threatened?
I don't know, because I was in Lebanon.
Okay.
If people were threatening him,
yeah,
I could assume that there was probably people threatening him.
Yeah,
because a lot of people were angry.
But I saw a picture of these Christians and Muslims that united out the front.
That's right.
And they came together. It was nice to see that.
Yeah, but it's kind of scary.
Yeah.
When you've got Christians.
Yeah.
And of all denominations.
Yeah.
And then the Muslims, we're talking 70% of the population that you've offended.
That's
right. Australia. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys are running around 5% of the population. They're running amok at the moment.
Mm.
We're talking 70% of the population.
So when I'm talking about what he talks about during his shows, it's all about sex. It's all about dating. It's all about it's very degenerate. One day when I was in the car, for some reason the radio, I couldn't get it on 2GB, for example, and I was just flicking through because I needed to listen to something, and I don't know whether he's on Kiss 104. I don't know what it is. But all they're talking about, and I can't believe there will be parents that have him and Jackie O on with their kids in the car, and they're talking about positions.
This is morning radio, yeah.
And this was just a random 2-minute thing. As soon as I listened, I was like, "Boom!" So it wasn't a surprise, for him to say that. So I know that he likes to speak loosely, and because that's how he gets a lot of his views. But I guess this was one.
I was actually shocked that he apologized. So it's a good thing.
Yeah,
it's a good thing, and he set an example because every time someone does say something about Christianity or mocks Christianity, we get everybody on board.
But it's about time, isn't it?
100%.
And do you feel as though Christian Lives Matters has kind of contributed to this? Kind of like this underground movement that now we have a little bit more power than what we used to. It's like he was able to say something like this maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago and nothing would have happened to him. But now he's got to watch what he said.
God allows things to happen like this.
Yeah.
Okay. And through these negative things, positive things happen.
Yeah.
So Christian Lives Matter has been built on these extremely negative things towards Christianity and made us stronger.
Yeah.
Even what's happening now, everything that's happening now, it just gives us more strength, gives us more supporters.
Yep.
I've got the amount of people that are supporting the page now that are, even my personal page, that are not even Christian, jumping on board because they just want to hear the truth.
Well, you know what? That's interesting that you say that, because the way that I'm thinking now, or what a thought that just popped into my head, is you hear a lot of people say social media is bad, social media is evil, you got to get off Facebook, you got to get off Instagram, you got to get off TikTok. But if you think about it, if it wasn't for Facebook, if it wasn't for Christian Lives Matter, okay, there wouldn't be this movement of strong Catholics or Christians that are able to unite, rally up, and go and defend the faith whenever these kinds of situations or these things end up happening. You know what I mean?
100%.
And Christians in general, I think, have been very, very frustrated for a long time, and I'm sure that more than anyone, or else you wouldn't have started the page. But another thing that I want to bring up, that really frustrated me, and it would have frustrated you as well, was what happened with the schools in general. So can you talk about that as well? What happened with the schools? There was what did you hear?
There's a few things, right?
Okay.
So there was Christian Brothers Lewisham.
Yep.
There was a lot of things happening at Christian Brothers Lewisham. One of the main things was on one of the biggest feast days of Our Lady, they were going to do a iftar dinner.
Yep.
For Ramadan.
Yep.
Okay. No disrespect to Muslims, but it's a Catholic school.
That's right.
And it's a Catholic feast, and they're celebrating an iftar dinner in Ramadan. And I wouldn't expect that in a Muslim school to celebrate Easter.
Easter, for example. Yeah.
So that was one of the things that triggered something at Christian Brothers Lewisham. And then straight after that, Santa Sabina principal a few years back was doing something about gender fluidity and teaching things about pretty much what's happening in schools now.
Yeah.
But she was the first one.
And she was the pioneer within a Catholic setting.
In a Catholic setting, she was the pioneer that started it all.
Yeah.
today should have been perfectly fitting in there.
Yep.
But 4 years ago, it was unheard of.
Yep.
And a lot of the parents from the school reached out to me. I mean, even at the Lewisham, we had about 150 parents that came to a meeting with Brother Con, who was leading at the time. So the Santa Sabina parents asked me to do the same thing, and I started posting on social media, and we started getting the mainstream media, and Miranda Devine got involved, and just hammering what's happening in this school, and the parents were like jumping on board. And like, some of these parents don't have social media, so they're sending me articles and sending me things saying, can you post it on social media and just make it go viral? And we're doing that, and we put a lot of pressure, and then a year later she left the school. A year later, incident happened at Parramatta Catholic schools with Parramatta Archdiocese. I think 70 schools. They were sneaking in a bit of a, not a bit, but a very bad agenda in the curriculum. So again, we made a campaign against that, and it went for 2 years and still going till now. But it stopped that curriculum from actually moving forward.
Because the curriculum had some kind of like, not anti-Catholic, but they were kind of some very grey area elements of teaching the faith. Teaching the faith.
And very grey, and again with this new agenda, which is not Catholic. Okay, so I think we've been contributing to one of the main groups that put a stop to that actually moving forward. And then
sorry. With the Lewisham thing though, that happened. I remember that even the bishop ended up writing a letter.
Archbishop Fisher wrote a letter because
showing his support for not for Christian Lives Matters, or showing his
support against the school, supporting what we were saying.
That's right. Saying that he didn't agree with the fact that there was an iftar dinner, like that it didn't.
It wasn't a Catholic thing.
That's right.
Yeah, and he put out a letter in support, and that stopped that from happening.
Which was a win.
Was a win.
Okay,
and I think it was a win at Parramatta
as well, because they ended up removing. They didn't end up going ahead with the curriculum that they were planning.
They haven't gone ahead with the curriculum, but I've heard that they're trying to implement something else, and they've taken a few things out. What
now?
Yeah. So look, it's been 3 years or so, and they still haven't implemented that curriculum, which is a good thing.
Okay.
Because
around this whole time, like with the whole Santa Sabina, with the Parramatta, with the curriculum, the common theme or the common trend is that they're trying to kind of put this ideology that a person's gender is fluid, or a person has the right to be able to say what he believes about himself. So what I mean by that is...
Or he, she.
Yeah, he or she is allowed to be able... Yeah, so... And I remember, like, I wish I could go back, but if the viewers want to listen, they can go back on one of our old Voracious Media talks where you, I, and Father Daniel Russo spoke directly about the Parramatta curriculum.
That's correct.
You know, I think it was they spoke about this concept of transformational learning or something like that, where
that's right.
Nothing is solid, nothing is objective, nothing is true. Everything is kind of like subjective and left up to the idea of the individual. So he can like make reality whatever he wants it to be. Or I think it was something along those lines.
Something along those lines is very, very dangerous.
Yeah, that's right. And we believe, like as Catholics, in objective truth, in right, in wrong. You know, not in absolutely everything, but like in, especially when it comes to areas of like morality or ethics, or even when it comes to like understanding the nature of the human person, for example, like being a male or being a female, for example. Yeah,
that's right.
So that was another win, and even the head of the Parramatta of the system ended up resigning.
He resigned
for whatever reason.
That's right.
So that was another win, I guess. That was a win. Came to Christian Lives Matters.
Even now, this year, or last year with School of Rock in Sydney Catholic schools, a lot of people know about that.
So what happened with School of Rock? Because I think it's very important that the viewers know what happened, like with School of Rock. Like, so what did you when it comes to all of these issues that arise, how do you get notified? Like, are you people might think that you're probably scrolling through Facebook or through news articles. You got subscriptions to Daily Telegraph, and you're looking for the latest You just get people that message you, don't you?
Sending me messages and phone calls, and I can't, like, there's probably heaps that I've missed.
Yep.
Because I can't read all those messages. You know, so with School of Rock, I was tipped off by a teacher who told me what was happening.
Yep.
Okay, and a parent. And what happened was with School of Rock, there was it was School of Rock. It was at Homebush Olympic Park Stadium, whatever they call it.
Yeah.
Kudos Bank Arena.
Yep. 5,000,
10,000 students over a 2-day period going on school excursions.
Yep.
To watch this School of Rock.
And kids as young as primary school,
age 9,
yep,
9 to 14 years old.
Yeah,
were
that were being invited.
This.
They were given parental consent. They were given.
Well, they were given a permission slip. The parents signed a permission slip. Parents had no idea what was in the School of Rock. The students didn't know.
Yep.
And then when we were tipped off that this play was, had one scene where there's two fathers, another scene where there's a principal kissing.
And these two fathers in a Catholic production were played by two young 14 or 13-year-old males.
Two young boys, maybe 15, 16. I'm not sure what age they were.
And you've got people in the crowd that are like as young as 9 10, watching 11 watching this.
Yeah. And not just that.
And what were some of the other scenes?
A principal kissing a teacher.
Yep.
Okay. There was scenes where they're talking about getting drunk.
Yep.
Scenes of talking about sex.
Yep.
Swearing.
Yeah, and they were singing songs that had the word like sex god or something like that.
Sex god. They were talking about pagan gods.
Yep.
So a lot of non-Catholic things.
Elements.
In a school play, there's a Catholic play where children as young as 9 watching.
So it just wasn't as a minimum, it wasn't age appropriate, because we're probably going to be having people that are going to listen to us and they'll be like, oh yeah, that's not that bad. Like, yeah, who cares? But at the end of the day,
I would want my 9-year-old.
You've got 9-year-old kids that are there. It's a Catholic school, and they're not promoting they're promoting pretty bad themes. Yeah, sexualization of children, for example.
Well, Michael, the thing was, we brought this to their attention. Okay, we emailed and called, and everyone bombarded the Archdiocese and Sydney Catholic Schools, and we tried to get a hold of the head of Sydney Catholic Schools, and we tried to get a hold of Archbishop Fisher, and then they said that he was out of the country. So then we ended up having a meeting with the head of Sydney Catholic Schools, which was Tony Farley, with Bishop Umbers, and with the other couple of people from Sydney Catholic Schools.
Yep.
And a few of us went to the meeting, parents, teachers, myself, and a couple of other people. And we went to this meeting, and it was like they actually acknowledged everything that we said was correct.
Yeah, I was there with you.
Yeah, that's right. You were with me, and you remember actually.
Yeah.
We sat there.
Yeah.
And I forgot that you were with me.
Yeah.
So they sat there and they told us that everything that we have said is correct. That this play shouldn't have happened.
Yep.
And Tony Farley said that he'll make sure it never happen again.
Yep.
And if he knew what was in there, that would never have happened.
Yeah.
And then we brought to his attention that he's the director of the play. He's the head director of the play.
Yeah, but he gave it like his full support.
Yeah.
And he had a whole year and a half of the production, the getting the script, putting the play together.
That's right.
And he endorsed it.
Yeah. But the thing was, he acknowledged that we were right. He acknowledged that it was wrong.
Yep.
And then he said that
in
he doesn't
hindsight,
want to publicly apologize.
Yep.
Because he doesn't want to offend the other side. So he was more scared of offending that 5% than offending the truth. He didn't care about the truth and the parents that
you're right. But I think what he thinks and what he realizes is that 5%, there's a 90% probably within the Catholic school system that support that 5%. So that 90% that are in the Catholic school system, they're not like LGBT or transgender or in same sex, but I'm not even 90%, but 60 to 70% of them probably support that, and they probably wouldn't have seen anything wrong with it. And that's probably
fine.
the reason why.
But the problem is,
it's a Catholic school.
It's a Catholic school.
That's right.
He's admitting that the play was wrong.
That's
what
right.
was in the play was wrong.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, you should be apologizing publicly.
Yep.
And we asked him to apologize,
Yep.
to resign.
Yep.
Okay. And end of the day, when you look at things in this world and you do something wrong, we said it in the meeting. I said, if I go and have borrow your car, Michael, and have a car accident in your car, and I apologize. Sorry, mate, I had a car accident. Mm-hmm. You were like, look, don't worry, we'll go through insurance. And I don't have a license.
Yep.
I've got to be held accountable. I've got to pay for this car.
Yep.
His playing with children's lives here.
Yep.
He's put out a play. It's completely wrong. He's admitted fault.
Yep.
He needs to apologise publicly.
Yep.
He needs to resign.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to be held accountable. And nothing happened. And then no one knows this, but I'm going to say it now. We had a group of parents that actually emailed. This group of parents emailed Archbishop Fisher, a number of other bishops and priests and the media.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody sent us the response from Archbishop Fisher, who basically acknowledged that all this that happened was wrong.
Yep.
And it won't happen again. And for the parents to stop the campaign.
Yep.
So it was a bit of a spit in the face.
Yep.
Not a bit, a lot of a spit in the face.
Yep.
And it hasn't ended.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of parents are very angry.
Yep.
And it will continue until this is fixed.
Yep.
At the same time,
yep,
Balenciaga came out with that bondage children, and Balenciaga is a company. They're not Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing they did, they put out a public statement, an apology.
They did?
Yeah.
Yep.
And they took off all the posts off their page.
Wow.
Till now, if you go to their page, they haven't got any posts up. They've apologized.
But you know what? Like, initially when the parents were asking for Tony Farley to resign, I personally thought maybe an apology is enough. But then actually when I thought about like how bad the play was, the fact that he's supposed to be in a position of authority, representing the Catholic ethos and the Catholic schools, it just showed such grave negligence on his behalf. And in hindsight now, look at what happened to the head of Clubs New South Wales.
That's what I was going to say next.
When he made that comment against Dominic Perrottet.
That's what I was going to say next, because I was saying about Balenciaga.
Yeah.
They are a company that's not Catholic.
Yeah.
And they
issued a public apology.
Yeah. I'm not saying that what they've done is good, but they've put a public statement out there.
Yeah.
They've took all the posts down, and straight away they know they've done wrong.
Yeah.
Sydney Catholic Schools 4 months later still hasn't put a public apology out there.
Yeah.
Still haven't apologised to all the parents.
Yeah.
And they think nothing's happened.
Yeah.
And then you see the Sydney, the Clubs New South Wales.
Yeah.
Just said one little thing.
Comment about
Perrottet and his Catholic faith.
Mate, and the board sacked him.
He even apologised.
Yeah.
He apologised and then got sacked within 2 days.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
it's a lesson that people can.
It's happening in the real
maybe
world.
Apply it, yeah.
And in Sydney Catholic schools, they tiptoe around it. And look,
Yeah.
this is what's frustrating a lot of the Catholics out there, is that they're sending their kids to these Catholic schools.
Yep.
And, you know, they're not getting the Catholic education.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Well, you know what? The fight is still on, I guess.
The fight's still on. There's a lot of things happening no one knows about.
Yep.
And it's going to step it up.
Yep.
Whatever happened at the end of last year,
Yep.
it's only going to get worse for Sydney Catholic schools. And it's a warning out there, man, because there's a lot of parents that are really fired up, and they're saying, Charlie, we're going to go with or without you. And I'm not giving up on them. So,
well, that's good. Well, like, you know what? You just need to keep all of us in the loop and let us know, and we'll definitely help you and we'll support you with that. Let's move on to something a little bit more, like something a little bit more tragic, but obviously at the end of there's always a reason, or there's always, like, you see the hand of God in everything that happens. Talk us through the rosary that you organised for Danny and Layla Abdullah after they tragically lost 3 of their children in that crash at Oatlands.
And their 4th cousin.
And Bridget's daughter.
So yeah, look,
Veronique.
In that situation, I didn't know Bridget, I didn't know Danny or Layla.
Okay.
Whenever there's anything happening in our world, a lot of people reach out to me because of the novena groups that I have, and the prayer groups. We pray for hundreds of people in comas who've miraculously been healed through God's grace.
Wow.
So people reach out, and a lot of the times, if I hear a story, I'll reach out.
Mm-hmm.
So in this situation, it was a tragedy, and I thought, I've got to reach out to these guys. So I went to the funeral, and before the funeral, I organised, with the help of some of the priests and that, we said, let's do a rosary. So for about, we were praying the rosary there. It was before lockdown. For quite a few days, we'd have thousands and thousands of people flocking to Oatlands golf course.
And they prayed it there?
They prayed it there.
Yeah.
So I think a couple of days before the funeral, and then after the funeral, I just kept rallying up people, and we kept praying the rosary. And I got closer to Danny and Layla and Bridget, and just offering support as Christians.
Yeah.
You know, and I've become very, very close to all three of them and their families.
Wow.
I think that's what.
And I'm sure they would have appreciated the prayers and the support.
Yeah, of course they did.
The platform
and till now we speak nearly on a daily basis to all three of them, and that's what I think God wants us to do.
Yeah.
And a similar incident happened with the helicopter crash in Queensland just recently.
That's right, where there was a boy,
Nicholas Tadros,
by the name of Nicholas Tadros. So what happened? He was the only survivor of that crash?
No, he wasn't.
Okay.
There was another 2 survivors.
Yep.
But unfortunately, his mum passed away in the tragedy.
Yep.
He survived.
But he was in a coma?
He was in a coma.
Yep.
They didn't give him much chance of survival.
Yep.
We rallied up people on Zoom.
Yep.
And started praying a rosary. And every day for probably 10 days.
Yep.
He got out of the coma. Okay. But he's got a lot of complications.
Wow.
But he survived.
Yep.
And we've been giving his father support as well.
Okay.
But these things... These tragedies have united so many people in the faith.
Yep.
If we go back a bit as well to during lockdown,
yep,
there was a young kid called AJ that was missing. If you remember AJ.
That's right.
It was lockdown. People couldn't get out of their houses. I had just come back from Lebanon.
Yep.
And I thought, I didn't know who AJ was. I didn't know who his parents were.
Yep.
So I heard this kid was missing. I saw it on the news. Thought, okay, let's rally up and do a rosary on Zoom.
Yep.
Pulled up a rosary a Zoom account, maxes out at 100 people.
Yep.
First night, it maxed out at 100 in like 3 minutes.
Yep.
So the next day, I upped it to 500, maxed out to 500 families.
Wow.
The next night, the third night, we did 1,000 families praying a rosary on Zoom. The third night, he was found.
Wow.
After that, we prayed a rosary every night on Zoom, between 700 and 1,000 families for the next 20 nights.
Yep.
And then by the 35th night in a row, it dipped to about 350, 400 families.
Wow.
And we had priests and monks and Coptic priests and Maronite priests and Abonotanis in Lebanon.
Yep.
Everybody jumping on board. Protestants praying with us. Yep. Orthodox, Coptics, Melkites, Catholics, Maronites, Muslims, Hindus. Everybody was jumping on.
Wow.
The unity of prayer was phenomenal. And that's what I'm saying. So many people in the community have reached out to us because of these prayer nights.
Yep.
And this is what Christian Lives Matter is about.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about Christians. It's about all lives matter.
Yep.
Every single person.
Yep.
Every faith, every colour.
Yep.
No matter what you believe in.
Yep.
Everybody's life matters to Christ.
That's right.
To God.
And the beautiful thing about it as well is the fact that you're probably going to get a lot of people who've probably never prayed before.
Heaps. Haven't prayed. Starting to want to go to confession, because what I would do is after every rosary we'd sit there and do a testimony. Mm-hmm. Somebody got healed of cancer, somebody had their son who was in a coma, who woke up out of a coma, would come and tell their story. So all these miraculous stories.
Women that haven't had what about the Saint Veronica Giuliani?
Haven't had children. We've had more than 180 couples that couldn't have children in the last 5 or 6 years now have children.
Well, because of the
novenas
and the prayers
and the unity of prayers, and we're talking 180 people that some of them hadn't had children for 20 years.
Wow.
Okay. So yeah, just unbelievable.
Wow.
Right, and the unity of prayer and the power of prayer. Look, Christian Lives Matter. If you want to extend the name, okay, it should be called Christian Lives Matter as well. It's not only Christian lives, because some people with a message go, oh, why is it only Christian Lives Matter? Yep. It's not only Christian Lives Matter. It's Christian Lives Matter as well as everybody else's life.
Yeah.
That's what it should be.
Absolutely. And so you've decided now to start a podcast. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay. So Christian Lives Matter has been via Facebook, 24,000 people, on my Instagram with about 12,000 people, and I've got a few WhatsApp groups. Mm-hmm. So the last few months, everything that I do, no matter what it is, always pray and ask God's guidance and pray for God's will. So I thought to myself, I've got to make Christian Lives Matter go viral, make it bigger.
Yep. Not
for myself, but for people to see. I want more, like instead of having 1,000 people on a Zoom, imagine having 5,000.
Yep.
You know, imagine the next rally or protest having, instead of 10, 15,000, having 150,000.
Yeah.
So, and people are watching the Joe Rogans and the Jordan Peterson and Andrew Tate and all these podcasts, and a lot of them are comedy and a lot of them are, I thought, I want to speak truth.
Yeah.
I want people to see the truth about Christianity as well.
Yeah.
So I thought, why not start a podcast. So basically do what we're doing like here right now, but on a large scale. So I've been praying on it, and amongst Lebanon praying on it. And the last few months, and I've come up with this idea that, you know what, I want to do podcasts where I get these guys that have come out of comas to come on and do an interview.
Wow.
These guys that couldn't have children come on and maybe bring their child and say, this is my baby who, you know. These guys who were in jail and have come back to the faith. These athletes who were Christians who play rugby league or soccer or basketball and say, you know what, you know, I'm a Christian, I believe in my faith, and how is your persecution in your sport? How do you be a Christian? Priests that were ex-drug dealers, or, you know, that Father Donald Calloway who I interviewed. Because I had a bit of experience during the COVID pandemic where I interviewed Martin Isles from Australian Christian Lobby, Miranda Devine. I interviewed yourself as well. So, like Father Donald Calloway, who used to be a drug dealer and a surfer, and is a priest. So why not do that on podcasts?
Absolutely.
So I want to show Christianity in a different light and make it interesting. Whoever's watching this, if you're finding this interesting, you're going to find the podcast interesting.
Well, I definitely think there's definitely a market for it, especially like an Australian market for it, because I don't think here in Australia we get the light shined on us enough about a lot of the campaigns and a lot of the battles that we're going through.
100%.
At the moment. Like, you know, like you see a lot of news clips from things that are happening in America, but from what you've just told us tonight in this episode, we've got a lot on our hands here.
That's right.
You know?
And you know what? I want to make this not just Facebook and Instagram. I want to go on. I've just started a YouTube channel. Okay, Christian Lives Matter podcast YouTube channel. So maybe go on to Spotify. So if I've got the platforms like Spotify, YouTube, might even go onto TikTok to attract the younger crowd as well. I don't have TikTok, but Instagram and Facebook. And I just started the WhatsApp group last week. We've got 900 people joining this Christian Lives Matter podcast WhatsApp group. So if I post a message, there's almost 1,000 people that see this message. So I just want to bring Christ to everybody. I want to bring the fight, and not fight as in weapons, but the rosary to the world.
Now on that, something that came to my head that I wanted to bring up, and it's kind of like a little bit of an objection, but an objection that can turn to a solution. People within the church might see you as kind of like a bit of a thorn in their side. You know what I mean? Like when it comes to certain things that happen, like for example, at the Requiem Mass for Cardinal Pell, there were people there that put ribbons up to represent the voices of those people that have been sexually abused. And there have been other incidences as well. Like out the front of St. Mary's Cathedral in the forecourt, they had some sort of an event on that had a lot of like debaucherous acts, like bands and it was very inappropriate to be happening in the forecourt, as well as the School of Rock, for example. Now, just the way that you said and this is what reminded me, and sometimes I feel like they feel like you're creating a lot of work for them, because they just want these things to go away, and you're kind of like bringing them up, and you're probably making a bit more work for them. What is your message to them? Okay, and bear in mind, like I'm just thinking about what you said to Abu Nathanios when you went up to him and you said to him, Abuna, you want to save souls? I can help you. What would you say to these people that are seeing you as kind of like a bit of a thorn? Like, would you like to tell them like that we're on the same side? Like, use me. Like,
I'm on the side of truth. If you're on the side of truth, you're standing with me. I've got Muslims, I've got atheists, I've got Protestants, I've got people from different faiths following and saying, I like what you say because it's the truth, and they follow what I'm saying. Now, I'm not here for followers, right? But as a Catholic and as a Christian and as a Maronite, I follow the truth. When I follow the truth, I might not know the Bible like you know the Bible, or how the priests know their faith or the theology. But believe it or not, every single thing I've discussed tonight, before I do it, I ring my spiritual director in Lebanon, and I ring maybe a theologian that I know in Australia, or another priest in Australia. I always ring 2-3 people and I get their advice on it. I don't act alone, spontaneously. Everything I've done, I've asked direction on. Okay, so I might think, okay, I need to go and do this because I feel that God's calling me to do it. So I ring my priest and ask him, and he might say, Charlie, don't do this, do that. And I get the direction and I act on it. So I'm not acting on my own. I'm not acting just Charlie Bakhos is doing whatever he wants to do. So I'm getting direction firstly. Secondly, when I'm bringing to attention something that somebody's doing wrong, standing up for truth, I'm not going to sit there and cover up what School of Rock did. I'm not going to cover up if someone's doing something wrong. I'm going to speak truth. I'm risking my life. I'm risking my livelihood. I'm getting attacked daily. Okay? Some of these people who are maybe priests, they're doing it for, I mean, that's their job. They're doing it as a job. So being Christian is part of the job is getting persecuted. If you're going to sit there and tiptoe around it and hide, well, then maybe you should reconsider what you're doing. That's my opinion. Again, yes, I love them. Yes, I support them. I'm the first one to put my hand up if someone's attacking our church, or someone needs prayers, or someone's got cancer, or someone's lost in our community. Even if they're not from our community, I've had Muslims and atheists and everyone say, oh, I've got a missing child, can you pray for them? Yeah, no problem. We pray for everybody. We help everybody. So I'm the first one to put my hand up. All I'm asking is, let's put our hands together. Let's stand together for the truth. If you can bring up a case and say, Charlie, if a bishop or a priest or anyone says, Charlie, what you're doing is too extreme or too wrong, pull me up. Have a phone call. I'll sit and talk to you face to face or over the phone. Correct me what I'm doing wrong. They never do. Because the only time they try to correct me, they don't say that because you're going to make us look bad. I'm not worried about who looks bad or who looks good. I'm worried about the truth.
Absolutely.
So if any priest is watching this, or anyone from the faith that thinks that I've done something wrong, I'm more than happy to discuss it. Okay, and I'll change my ways if you're speaking the truth.
But also, like, to use you as a force for good. Like, you can rally numbers, you can rally the truth, you can get people from media outlets who support you,
100%.
like Miranda Devine, for example. And
I've had Church Militant reach out to me.
But a good example as well is the fact that you look at the Requiem Mass for Cardinal Pell, for example, like those people that wrongly put the ribbons up. It was bad that they did that because it actually sent out a message that Cardinal Pell, might have been guilty in some way of.
Yeah, but even the ribbons, man, they put the ribbons up. And then they were rallying outside. About their agenda. They weren't even talking about the pedophilia. They were talking about, wear this and wear that. It was like, again, the rainbow agenda. Okay. And then on the day of the funeral, they didn't just have the ribbons. They had rainbow-coloured ribbons. So it's like it's a mockery.
Like a mockery.
And they think they can just sit and mock. Like, it's like the Mardi Gras is on now, and if I turn around and said, hey, let's go down and march with them and pray the rosary and throw holy water on them. That's not what we should be doing.
No.
I'm not going to go force them to pray. I'm not going to go and force everyone to sit and pray. That's what they're trying to do to us. They're trying to force us to do what they want to do. And that's wrong. Even not being a Christian. Humanity, morality, that's not right. No one should be forcing anyone to do anything.
That's right. So it should be because they want to do it.
That's right. And again, as a Christian, I'm standing up for my beliefs as a Christian. Okay. I'm not against anybody. I love the church. I'm the first one to defend the church. I'm the first one to defend our leaders. But sometimes our leaders do the wrong thing, and unfortunately, I'm going to pull them up. And I'll pull them up, not publicly. I'll pull them up on the side. I'll send them a message or phone call. But if they're not going to answer and they're going to ignore and brush under the carpet, unfortunately, we're going to have to go public. That's the way it is.
That's how you operate. Now, you probably don't like to talk about this, but I think it's important for people to know as well. That the platform itself has 24,000 people.
On Facebook.
You don't get paid for any of this. You've got a job at the moment, but because you're so involved in Christian Lives Matters, you've got a very good boss who kind of like lets you take days off, and like it's a commission-based job where...
Well, no, I'm on a wage, so I work full-time.
Okay.
But for example, when I go to Lebanon and I'm doing my charity work there, I take off and I don't get paid.
Okay.
So I'm actually...
But he's pretty supportive of you.
Well, he's supportive.
Can you speak about how much time, so that people can have an appreciation of how much time is actually needed or is involved in running this platform?
Currently?
Yeah.
Oh, well, okay. Because not only I've talked about Christian Lives Matter, but
because it's affected you financially, hasn't it?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But not just Christian Lives Matter. I do a lot of charity stuff through QMHR.
Yep.
So helping Lebanon.
Queen of the Most Holy Rosary.
Queen of the Most Holy Rosary. So I'm ongoing messages for people, raising money. We raised during the Beirut blast through QMHR. We raised almost $500,000 in 1 month.
Yep.
Okay, and then I went to Lebanon for 11 months, and we distributed the funds and helped the poor. So I'm doing that as well as Christian Lives Matter.
Yep.
And then I'm running 3 novena groups, so constant messages. Someone's got cancer, someone's dying, someone's this, can you pray for them? Constant messages on Facebook.
Yep.
So Christian Lives Matter on Facebook's 24,000. Then I've got the Veronica Giuliani page has about 17,000.
Yep.
Then my personal page is 10,000.
Yep.
Then Instagram, and then all about 15 WhatsApp groups.
Wow.
So I'm running all this like endless messages.
Yep.
So I probably respond to maybe a quarter at the most
of what you get.
Of what I get.
Yep.
And it's, if you can say I'm working 9 hours a day, during that 9 hours a day, half the time I'm messaging people or talking to people.
Yep.
And then in the evening, come home, I'll finish this tonight, go home, bang, park the car, message people back.
Wow.
I chat, like today I got probably about, I don't know, there was a video going around that I posted of someone questioning a uniting church in the city that had rainbow paint on the floor and whatever, and someone shared this video with me. I posted it and shared it. I've had about 35 people send me this video, go, hey Charlie, did you see this? I'm like, I was the one that shared it. And they just resend it to me. So I can't respond to everybody.
Okay.
So it's more than a full-time job. It's unbelievable. And the podcast is going to be very busy. Because the podcast, I'm going to be sourcing out these people to do interviews. I'm going to be reaching out people, seeing sponsors, seeing who we're going to get on the show, editing the videos, preparing for them. So it's another full-time job.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you know what, man? God bless your work. Big things are happening. People can check you out at on your YouTube channel now that you've got
Christian Lives Matter podcast YouTube channel, on Facebook Christian Lives Matter, on my personal page Instagram Charlie Bakhos. Soon I'll be starting a Spotify, hopefully TikTok and Twitter. I haven't got them either, so
awesome.
Maybe we can get the audience to expand even more for younger crowd and for other crowds. So awesome. I want to go viral, not for myself, but to spread the word
and to bring souls to Christ,
to save souls through Christ.
Through Christ. And on that note, thanks for being on the show, and looking forward to seeing you again next time. Thanks for having on, Michael. No God worries. Bless you, and I think everybody follow Veracious Media and follow Christian Lives Matter podcast. Awesome. God bless you all. God bless. Majdaleh, Daimileh.